Rejoice as you get another Minecraft Origins explained before the end of the year. Today's origin is the Solstice origin, created by the user known as 𝓵𝓲𝓷𝓴𝓼, as well as some abilities are created by 𝓵𝓲𝓷𝓴𝓼, and it's posted by the user known as 𝓵𝓲𝓷𝓴𝓼 Alchemist. A bunch of names. You can download from the Origins Discord server as always. Let's get into the origin. The Solstice is a 3-impact origin, an astral bottle you reborn into the living. Let's get into the abilities. Your first ability is a plasma bolt. You blast a solar flare from the sky at your opponents. So this is your secondary ability. You can use this to send down 3 lightning bolts to whomever you're aiming at towards. And this has a pretty decent range overall and does a pretty good amount of damage, to the point where you could probably use 2 or 3 rounds of it on yourself to kill yourself with it if you really want to. Don't know why you would do that, but hey, that's an option anyway. It's also a great way to get yourself some supercharged creepers. Again, I do understand why you want to do that one, but it can cause a lot of damage if you're not careful with it, so a useful ability overall. Next is Form Swap. Swap to your lunar form with your primary key. Now this ability doesn't seem to work correctly, and I did go down to 1.18.1, which is what this origin was originally meant for, and it doesn't work in that version either, so I have no idea what this was intended for, but everything else seems to be fine. Next is Hydrophobic. Due to it being an embodied star, you're cooled down by water, damaging you. Unlike most other origins that have this water damage thing, this is actually far more potent on this origin than it is most other origins. Instead of it being like half a heart or the same pace as what lava can do in most cases, you will take 3.5 hearts worth of damage every single tick of damage that you get. So it's very deadly and will kill you very quickly if you do end up in the water for too long of a time. Lunar Strength. By pulling energy from your lunar form and a nether staff in your offhand, you can get resistance. This is the first way to tell what form you're in by holding a nether star in your offhand, so it does give you permanent resistance at all times. Don't know how useful it's going to be, considering it requires you to get a nether star before this ability is even useful in the first place, and you can't exactly tell whether you're in a lunar form or not. It does make a difference though, because if you're not in lunar form, the resistance just completely disappears. If you are in lunar form, the resistance is on a continuous 2-second loop that restarts every time it hits 0. So overall, potentially something useful if you get your hands on a nether star, but you may want to use that nether star for a beacon instead. So yeah. Next is Pyrophobia. As a being with its temperature perfectly neutralized by the chill of space, fire does virtually double damage. This ability doesn't quite make too much sense, considering you're meant to be like a star of some sort, so usually you're hotter than fire already, so fire wouldn't do much damage, but hey, it does double damage, meaning that if you do step in lava, you'll take 2 hits from lava and die. So I'll be very careful, because fire gonna hurt. And hey, if you're enjoying this video so far, why not consider hitting the subscribe button down below? It's very appreciated, it helps me out a lot, and you just get awesome origin content in your sub box very consistently. Oh, and also get the like button while you're there. Back to it. Next is Insomniac. Phantoms will not attack you. Suddenly this became one of the best origins in the world, because phantoms, bye, you don't need to worry about them anymore because they won't attack you. Okay, jokes aside, I guess this is very useful because it does make phantoms not attack you. As you can see in this footage here, I literally spam in a bunch of phantoms around me. None of them attack me. They just float around and do their own thing, and honestly, that's pretty cool. Finally, phantoms aren't going to be a pain in the backside, they always are. Summer's Seer. You do more damage at daylight. Quickly, as we set the time of the day, watch the phantoms as they burn. Burn, my pretties, burn! So using my classical method of the iron sword versus the husk, in daytime your iron sword will do 2 hits to a husk to kill it. 2 normal hits, non-crits, because you can't do crits in this origin, as you'll find out why very soon, but basically you do 2 normal hits with an iron sword and you can kill the husk easily. Typical damage is in a range of 4 hits with an iron sword, as we can see at nighttime, so effectively speaking, this ability kind of doubles your damage, probably not completely, but it pretty much does double it. Next is Star Absorb. You absorb the night sky's power and heal in the night faster than usual. Basically speaking, you have a permanent regeneration 1 effect on you at all times throughout the nighttime, which is very useful in most situations, as it pretty much gives you guaranteed healing, even when your hunger's a bit on the low side, so it's very useful. Small body, you're smaller. Basically, you're 1 and a slab. Basically, 1.5 blocks, you're just barely taller than that, which is pretty interesting. You won't notice it as much as first until you look at very closely at the details. Low gravity. This planet has lower gravity than you're used to. This ability is probably a lot more interesting than what you're currently thinking when it comes down to this, but basically what happens is whenever you're jumping around, you'll have a levitation effect put on you very briefly. So depending on the amount of momentum you have before you take a jump, can depend on how far this levitation will take you. Though at max momentum with a sprint jump, you can only go up to around 3.5 blocks high before it starts to fall back down. Either way, it's very useful to have that there. You have this nice little bit of levitation that allows you to get up to higher places a lot easier and without the need of building up building blocks. And then also a bonus on top of that is you've got permanent slow falling. This is also a disadvantage at the same time because you can't hold shift in order to disable it, so you're permanently stuck with said slow falling. Sprint jumping doesn't work anymore because again you've got slow falling and a levitation boost, which just nullifies any form of momentum boost you would get in the air from sprint jumping, and so on and so forth. Overall, it's a pretty decent ability to have, but at the same time it's got a lot of drawbacks that come along with it, so honestly it's up to what you think about this one. And either way, that's the Solstice origin. What are your thoughts about this origin? Let me know in the comments down below. As always, make sure to leave a like, and there's a video on screen now of the origin from last week. Either way, go watch it, it's awesome. Bye bye.